guys, here we go, and the final day of the 12 days of Christmas here on Movies with James, and today we have the last movie of the 12 days, and this is the Christmas Chronicles 2. Yes, the Christmas Chronicle 2 is the final day, and if you did watch all of them, I think it was day 4, 5, I actually did review the Christmas Chronicles first movie. And over the last 12 days, I have watched a plethora of Christmas movies that have come through on a spinny wheel that I've been using. And me and Chloe have been watching, well, mostly me and Chloe, have been watching Christmas films to get into the Christmas spirit. And of course, I've been doing a series then based on what we've watched. So today was basically, I had to watch a film on my own. And I was like, I'm not going to spin the wheel. I'm going to watch this Christmas Chronicles 2. Because I said that when I filmed the video a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to, of course, watch Christmas Chronicles 2. I really liked Christmas Chronicles 1. I thought it was great. I thought it was really fun. It was Netflix's go at making a Christmas movie that was magical for families, all of the stuff that we love from a Christmas movie. But they then followed up with a sequel, and rightly so, because the first one definitely deserved the sequel aspect. The second one, however, it wasn't great. It wasn't good at all, and I understand why there hasn't been nothing about this now for 4 years, because this came out in 2020. The first one came out in 2018. And in this movie, there's like different books like on the shelf, and they're all like called Christmas Chronicles and whatnot. So they definitely teased that this was something they could do for a good couple of years. But obviously now we're 4 years down the road since the last one's been released, and we've just done another Christmas. So there's no word on 2025 there being a third one. And I can understand why, because there's a lot of things in this film that don't add up, and they do not make sense, and they're really bad. The first one was really good. It had a lot of, like, you know, they were in real life. I think that's what made it really good ultimately, was the fact that Santa was walking among us kind of thing as humans, I guess, and, you know, in like a city centre and talking to the police and, you know, doing his magic in real life, whereas this one was all based on the North Pole. Now, that's the good aspects of the movie. They did a lot of world building in this film in terms of showing us more of the elves, showing us more of the North Pole. They teased at the end of the first movie the whole, like, Mrs. Claus aspect, and we get Mrs. Claus in this movie, and she's a massive character now. You get the girl, Kate Pierce, she's back in the movie as well. Her brother, though, gets completely benched. Like, he's just like a cameo in this film, ultimately. He's not in there at all. And we get, like, her step brother now. He's playing Jack, and his name's Jazir Bruno. He's just like a young kid, never seen him before. But as I say, Kate Pierce is in the movie, in the film. We also get Julian Dennison, who many people would see him on Deadpool 2, and also I think it was a Godzilla movie I think he was on. But he's playing Belsnickel, who is like this elf that's kind of gone bad, and he's ultimately the bad guy. He's like an elf that's gone bad, but then converted to a human. But then ultimately banished from the North Pole ultimately and working alone in the South Pole. But he wants revenge against Santa and wants to take Christmas and ruin it for everyone else. So that's mainly the premise of the story, and I think that's what ultimately lost me about the film. The world building was really good. The actual, you know, amazing like looking sets and money spent on this franchise was great, because Netflix did spend a ton of money on this movie. You know, and also getting Kurt Russell back as well, because, you know, he's not cheap in terms of an actor. And as I said, he is a really good Santa Claus, especially watching the Santa Claus a couple of days ago. You know, Tim Allen definitely is the best, but Kurt Russell is up there like as a good live action Santa Claus in my opinion. So as I say, this film really does fall short because of that nemesis, the bad guy, what's his name again, Julian Dennison. He really doesn't encompass that role really well. I think in the first movie it kind of aimed towards like kids, but obviously like maybe you could watch with your family. This one was ultimately for kids. There wasn't that like adultish themes going on in there. You know, the audience at the end of the day for the first movie has grown 4 years, so they're going to watch this back, you know, and you want the story to almost grow with you, similar to Harry Potter. The first movie obviously was aimed really much as kids, but as the movies go on, they go darker and darker and darker, because the age of the films are growing up as they're going, so they mature and they get more adult as the audience grows with them. And this film didn't do that. It went backwards, which ultimately is not the thing you do normally. You obviously develop the story forward, and you make different choices based on, you know, your audience now are 4 years older, so, you know, we're going to challenge a bit. You know, the kids that were 8 before are now 12, so maybe they don't believe anymore, so, you know, maybe we'll do a believing aspect kind of thing. And I think that's what ultimately was missed in this film, was the choice of the actual plot, and this Belsnickel bad guy wasn't great at all. So I rated Christmas Chronicles Part 2 a 2-star. Unfortunately, it wasn't great for me. It felt like a Netflix film, felt like that streaming movie that we sometimes hate. Directed by Chris Columbus, though, and you would know him because he directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies, as well as Home Alone. So they had a better director, you could say, in this movie than they did the first one. But this one just didn't execute it well at all. It just didn't go down that route. I'm not sure if it was creative decisions and he decided to do these things, but Netflix should have just stuck to their guns and maybe left it to the original director and just carried on with it. But I think we're not going to see any more Christmas Chronicles movies, which is a shame. But I think the first one is definitely better to watch as a standalone. Don't watch this one thinking, oh, I'm going to watch the first one and then, there's a second one. I wouldn't bother. I think just if you'd watch the first one, you'll have a good time. I rated that, I think, 3.5 stars. So you'll have a better time watching the first one than you will, watching that second one, of course. But it's a shame because, these had potential, and it's really annoying as like somebody who watches movies and obviously talks about them online, but these things have potential, so why not continue that potential? It's a real shame, but ultimately, as I say, 2-star. It wasn't good. I like the world building aspect. I liked seeing Kurt Russell again as Santa Claus, and the Kate Pierce was quite cool and all of that. She was quite good in the film, like some of the actresses. But as I say, you have to change your headset, because it's like the last one you was kind of watching like a 12 PG movie, but now you're watching now you're watching a kids movie. They made the elves like almost like try and be minions, and it just fell a little bit flat. But there it is. There is the 12 days of Christmas all done. Over the last 12 days, I have watched a ton of Christmas movies, of course, all 12, and we've been spinning them through on a spinny wheel, and they're all on the screen there in terms of all the reviews. I've had a real good time doing this series, and it's been really fun to actually watch Christmas movies and then rate them every single day. It's been challenging. I've had to do 2 videos a day, sometimes even 3 videos a day, just to get this series out there. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and maybe down the road for seasons, especially things like Halloween, I'll do a horror series and stuff like that. But maybe we'll see what happens. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this series ultimately, and you did a little bit of a countdown to Christmas here on Movies with James. As I say, tomorrow is Christmas, so Merry Christmas from me here at Movies with James, of course, and stay tuned for the new year in 2025. We'll have more videos coming soon on the channel. Thanks for watching, and of course, I'll see you then. Goodbye.